During World War II, British Prime Minister Churchill was overjoyed on two occasions. The first was when German forces violated the German-Soviet non-aggression pact and invaded the Soviet Union. At that moment, Churchill remarked that Britain would now avoid defeat. The second was when Japanese forces launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. He stated that this simplified the situation. This meant the formation of a dynamic where the democratic camp, comprising Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, was pitted against the fascist axis of Japan, Germany, and Italy. In the Soviet Union, Trotsky adopted American-style Taylorism and drafted the blueprint for industrialization. Stalin implemented this plan, propelling the Soviet Union to become the world's second-largest industrial power, trailing only the United States. Trotsky was of Jewish descent, and records indicate significant influxes of Jewish capital. However, to deflect the hostility of Hitler, a proponent of anti-Semitism, Stalin dismissed his Jewish foreign minister and concluded the non-aggression pact with Germany. Churchill rejoiced when that pact was broken and the German-Soviet War began. Regarding Japan, Britain had supported the nation to check Russian southward expansion, while the United States did so to secure a foothold for its own entry into China. Yet, following the Russo-Japanese War, Japan ceased to heed British and American dictates. When Japanese forces advanced into French Indochina, the West perceived this as an encroachment upon a white man's sanctuary. The resulting economic blockade against Japan ultimately led to the attack on Pearl Harbor. This dynamic remains relevant in today's world. Ukrainian President Zelensky likened the Russian military's assault on Kyiv to the attack on Pearl Harbor, effectively galvanizing the U.S. Congress. Zelensky is also seeking to provide drone technology to Israel and Gulf states to counter Iran. Furthermore, fierce drone attacks on oil facilities within Russia itself led some to believe that the tide of the war had turned. U.S. President Trump seized upon this development. Much like Churchill, he likely concluded that the situation had been simplified. He declared that he would scrap the agreement with Iran and launch heavy bombing raids against the country. Where Trump differs from Churchill, however, is in his weak grasp of the facts. On the ground, Russian forces are gradually pushing back the Ukrainian military. They have announced the capture of Kostiantynivka, a strategic location in the Donetsk region. Since Russia and Iran are members of the major BRICS alliance, crushing them would not be as straightforward as dismantling the Tripartite Pact of Germany, Italy, and Japan.